Well, you got it tomorrow,
Chuck Stone. Thank you very much. First, I want to give all honor and praise to God Almighty. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here tonight to share with you with the Colorado Association of Black Journalists 2010 Media Awards and Scholarship Banquet. I think we've had a great evening. The challenge of a keynote speaker after people have eaten and listened to awards is to not only keep your attention, but to deliver a message. And I've thought about what I was going to say since the invitation from Nadia. I'm a close friend, in fact, I'm a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. And I remember when Chuck Stone and Sandra Dillard and Sandra Long and others in 1975, December, founded the National Association of Black Journalists. And the Colorado Association of Black Journalists has distinguished itself for 17 years or more. And we're here tonight. I think the greatest part of tonight is not my speeches, but when those young people came up here to get their awards. We must invest and keep investing in our young people. When I became the youngest person to momentarily lead the NAACP, the theme that year was passing the torch. And I kept telling the board, 64 members, make sure the torch is still lit. And when you pass something on to young people, it has to be relevant. It has to mean something, not just for the past, but for the present. And I know that there are some, not here in this audience, but some in Denver and some in Colorado, and certainly some throughout America who question, why do we need an Association of Black Journalists in 2010, since we are supposed to live in a post-racial society? And of course tonight at this great dinner, while we're here in Denver, there are some other people in Washington on the eve of Glenn Beck's March on Washington. Yeah. Very interesting twist of history. Yeah. Before getting into my major address, I do want to recognize one person who served as the national director of the communications for the NAACP while I was the CEO. And prior to that, he was the editor of the distinguished Amsterdam News. He's a longtime close friend. In fact, he's here tonight video streaming live for Free Speech TV, a new television network, satellite television network, right, Don? Yeah. But please meet Don Rojas. Good luck. In fact, this is another little anecdote, and I won't be long tonight, but Don Rojas, before going to be the editor of the Amsterdam News, he was the director of communications for the government of Grenada. And of course, when a lot of my colleagues at NAACP found that I was assembling a left of center group of professionals in media and communications and politics, they thought it was a little bit too advanced. But the truth of the matter is, our reality is not whether it's left or right or liberal or conservative. The question is, what can we do and what should we do to improve the quality of life of our people in our community? And I think we should never get in a situation where we have to apologize for our blackness, or apologize for our education, or apologize for our parents and foreparents that worked so hard to get the day that we have today. I tell our brothers and sisters in the church and in the mosque, be careful what you pray for, because God will answer your prayers. And in a sense, while we talk about a lot of the negative things, I'm glad that I lived to see a brother go to the White House. And I'm glad that he was nominated in this city. You know, the DNC. Denver distinguished himself with a lot of things, but I'm happy that President Barack Obama got his nomination in this city. And certainly, I must remind you that when you make progress, and we've made progress. I've been involved in the civil rights movement a long time, and I still say the civil rights movement because I don't accept the notion that we're in a post-civil rights generation. I don't think we have totally, we've made progress, but I don't think we've all overcome yet. I really believe that we need more journalists. I think the National Association of Black Journalists and the Colorado Association of Black Journalists has done a tremendous job. But the doors still need to be kept open. We need more journalists. We need more producers. We need more directors. A good friend of mine, and some of you, I'm hopefully have read his books, James Baldwin. He's deceased now, but he and I were very close, like running partners. And over occasion, we would have meet in Washington, D.C. and have libations together. And on one occasion, we were discussing the plight of our people. And he was not only a good writer, but he was also a budding filmmaker. And we were doing a documentary, Don, on some of the changes since the 1960s and 1970s and 1980s for African Americans. And sometimes, you know, when you in a light setting, you joke with one another. And I was saying to James Baldwin that I was concerned that we need more writers. We need more books because when young people say they don't understand the movement, it's not the young people's fault, it's our fault. We have to pass that legacy on. We have to transmit that legacy to our young people. You know, so near the end of the meeting with James Baldwin, a little tear came in his eye. I thought maybe I had said something to insult him because I admired his as a great writer. And he picked it and went in his pocket and pulled out his pen. He said, Ben, the reason why I have a tear in my eye, I don't have anyone to pass my pen to. This is James Baldwin. I remember the words he said. He said, the pen is mightier than the sword. But it's a question of what you do with it. When we write our stories or write our scripts, are we just writing for our employer? Or are we writing for something that can help beset and offset and help elevate and undergird change for our people? I made the same speech that I'm making to you tonight to a group of gang leaders in South Central Los Angeles. Because I wanted them to understand that picking up guns and picking up things that will destroy, that will give you no power. What gives you power and to maintain and sustain power is knowledge, it's education, it's the ability to utilize technology. I mentioned to Nadia that one of the things I need to say to black journalists and all journalists, not just black journalists, but Latino journalists, white journalists, look, technology is going to change, is changing the industry. And in a sense, I believe that technology is an equalizing force. I didn't know my man Don was here. Now he's Free Speech TV. Yeah. It's a network. Yeah. In real time. There used to be a time we would have, when is my deadline? When is the thing? There's no deadline. It's real time. You have to think, write, act, produce in real time and transmit it. Not just in America, but all over the world. As poor as my brothers and sisters in Africa are today, in 2010, 1 in 4 Africans has a cell phone. Today, they get their information, not just make calls, over technology, satellite technology, internet technology. And to some extent, there has been a digital divide in our communities. but some of it is being bridged. If you don't believe it, visit Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. I'm in the online education business today because I found out that of the University of Phoenix that has 400,000 students, 50% of those students are Black and Latino. Kaplan University, which is owned by the Washington Post. The Washington Post makes more money in online education than do selling newspapers. $2 billion a year company. And there's nothing wrong with those companies. I'm for the American enterprise. But I'm concerned that sometimes when we ramp up in those for-profit companies deal with higher education, you ramp up students, but they only have a 17% graduation rate or 12% graduation rate. And so you look at HBCUs that I work with now, historically Black college universities, they not only are not getting students, but they're losing market share in the higher education marketplace because everything is changing. And I noticed that a lot of the schools that, like Howard, my alma mater, has a great school of journalism, but it's not attracting the best students because they're going to places they can get scholarships and funding. And even today, we have a problem that high school students come out now who are exposed to the internet and to technology. They come out better equipped technologically than the college professors that's got to train them in real time. I have two 15-year-old sons who are twins in high school in Parkland, Florida right now. I went to the first PTA meeting. Every parent had a laptop. And I have to pull the switch at my house to get my sons off of Xbox 360. And they're not, in the video games, they're playing video games with young people in China, in Japan, in England, a video game. So I went out to Microsoft and taught. I said, look, while these young people are playing games, put some education there. Let's do algebra games. Let's do science games. Let's teach how to write on this technology. And so really, I'm preaching to the choir tonight. I don't have to convince you that while we've made progress, we're going to slip back. The Tea Party only represents a reaction to the progress that has been made. And I'm not alarmed by the Tea Party. I expected the Tea Party to emerge. I expected somebody like Sarah Palin to emerge. The question is, who are we emerging? Who are we putting out there on the front lines? I'm so glad to see these young people. There got to be hundreds and thousands more that we have to mentor, that we have to tutor, that we have to encourage to use the pen, and I say now to use their keyboards. It's powerful in terms of transmitting a message, in terms of information. It's interesting to me that where I just moved from Florida to New York, the high school dropout rate. I hope some of you are doing stories about what is happening in the public school system in America. In New York City, the largest public school system in America, 70%, 70, of black males don't finish high school. 70% dropout rate. Where do they drop out? Drop out of high school, they drop into Rikers Island, they drop into the prison system. Get a record, can't get employed, so guess what happens? It's a vicious cycle. We have millions of young people who have records now that are shut out of the employment base. Very concerned about that. And we must do something about it. We must write about it, we must expose about it. And Don knows I sort of practice what I preach. I kind of actually put down my pen, but as of this week, I've started back now. I'm a columnist for the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I'm going to be writing every week. I'm going to be getting on the case. And not just me. I want to encourage all of you. You see, we know things, hear things, see things, feel things that we need to relate to one another. If I had to change any of my career in the past as I look back, I probably was still working in the nonprofit world, but not so much. I'm concerned that so many of our nonprofits take our energy and we're not building our own companies. I'm glad to hear about the person who's learning entrepreneurship, owning your own businesses, accumulating capital, accumulating property. That's building wealth in our community. Now, quite frankly, and I'll be honest with you, back in the 60s and the 70s, most of us in the movement thought there was something wrong with building wealth because we equated wealth with the oppressor. We equated wealth with exploitation. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not desiring to have the wherewithal to make sure your family is taken care of, to make sure your children get the best education, not the least education, the best education, then we're just spinning wheels. We have to do more. We thank God for the progress that we made. I thank God for what Chuck Stone and Sandra Dillard and Sandra Long did, 35 years ago. The question is, where, as I look out in this audience, where are the Sandra Dillards and Sandra Longs? I see a few, but we need more. And that's the charge tonight. We thank God for the opportunity. We thank God for the legacy. And I see me say, well, this dude is up here preaching, thanking God a lot. I'm not ashamed of my faith in God.
All right.
And I don't want us to be ashamed of our struggle and our travail. Because sometimes, we think sometimes that, how can I say, progress is also means that we have to be sophisticated enough that we don't even speak to each other like we're brothers and sisters again. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I visit some black churches and they're quiet. Something wrong with a quiet black church. If you can't say amen, if you can't pat your feet, if you can't clap your hand, if you can't sing something, if you can't wave. Now, some of you may not have had no storms in life. But live a little while longer, a storm is going to come. But it's a question how you're going to get through that storm.
All right.
And in the Quran and in the Bible, there's this passage. I'm going to end on this. It says, trial and tribulation are for purification.
Yes.
Well, we've been through a lot of trials and a lot of tribulation. We ought to be the most purified people in the world. We've been through it all. We ought to be the most righteous people in the world. We know the ups and downs. We ought to be setting a shining example for everybody in the world. Because we've not only just existed and survived America, we're now helping to change America.
Yes.
And if we change America, we change the world. Come on, brothers and sisters. Come on, black journalists. This is no time for us to get tired. This is no time for us even to retire. We got to re-up. And we got to reach back and bring up more young people into the fold. Freedom is a constant struggle. It's not a temporary struggle.
Yes.
While we celebrate tonight, we'll be moaning next year for what we've lost if we don't maintain our vigilance. If we don't maintain our sense of self-confidence. In other words, as I close, don't take for granted where we are. There are forces out there. Some very articulate, some a little less articulate, but there are forces. And you may think that some of the networks that systematically put this stuff in the air are just doing it for profit. They're doing it for profit, but they're also doing it to try to take away our sensibility and our mindset of what is possible for the future. And so we have work to do, and we need to work together. One of the things I like about what I've seen since I've been here with the Colorado Association of Black Journalists, you got a fellowship,
Yes.
and that's great. You're building collegiateship, that's great. Back in the day, we would say we're building comradeship, but I know that's, it may get some of you in trouble, but you know what I mean. We have to be our brother and our sister's keeper. We have to look out for one another. And when one soars, we all soar. It's none of this stuff about competition where we're trying to pull each other down. We got to be lifting each other up. God bless the National Association of Black Journalists. God bless the Colorado Association of Black Journalists. Thank you so much.